Hi everyone, I'm very happy to be here in Korea. This is my third time in Korea. It gets better every time. My name is Uriel. I'm a co-founder of Orbs. A little bit about myself. I studied electrical engineering in the Technion University of Israel, which is like the MIT of Israel. And then I co-founded a startup company, a traditional startup company in the AR, VR space. We were invested by Alibaba. I lived in China for several years. I developed the company business in China. We integrated the technology into the biggest applications in China, in Tmall and Taobao, Alipay, hundreds of millions of users. The company was acquired by Alibaba in 2017 and became the R&D center of Alibaba Israel. And then eventually I left to open our blockchain venture, Orbs, together with my partners, Daniel and Tal. So what is Orbs? Orbs is a hybrid blockchain protocol that solves Ethereum scalability problems today. Orbs is the first fully open public blockchain infrastructure that works alongside Ethereum. So when decentralized applications use Orbs, they basically get the power of two chains. And they get a full stack technology solution that gives them full decentralization, security, liquidity, integration to all exchanges and all wallets, but also all the production features that they need, scalability, low fees, and business level features. So we believe that the strategy of using Orbs plus Ethereum is the best strategy and is a better solution than any other single blockchain out there. So where are the users, right? I think one of the biggest problems in the space today is that hardly anyone is using blockchain. If you put aside just trading, and if you put aside speculation, and if you put aside just buying and selling cryptocurrencies, we see that there is a very actual usage of blockchain technology. There are around 7,000 decentralized applications over Ethereum, but all of them together have around 10,000 users per day. CryptoKitties, which is one of the most famous, talked about decentralized applications over Ethereum, have around 300 users per day. So this is a serious problem. Our competition today in the space, our goal, our mission, should be really to drive blockchain usage and less talk about who is a better platform. So if you drill down into research and you look at reasons why is blockchain not used today as much as we would want? So the number one reason is that the blockchain platforms are just immature. They are not good enough for mass adoption. But this is just the first reason. It's a very big reason, and this is also what I will discuss today at Orbs. But there are other reasons, such as inappropriate use, right? Many companies just throw blockchain on something, but token economy on something, but it doesn't really make sense, so it doesn't work. There's a lot of lack of skills and talent, so there needs to be a lot of education into blockchain in order to build successful applications, governance models, and also developing strong ecosystems. So while I focus today on Orbs, which is how we solve the immature infrastructure problem, Orbs is also a part of a bigger group in Israel called Hexa. And in Hexa, our mission is really to transform mainstream big consumer application into blockchain, and we want to tackle exactly all of the problems that we saw above. So Orbs solves infrastructure problem. Hexa Labs is our accelerator and strategy that works together with big companies to try to help them to use blockchain and token economy for the right thing. Hexa Finance is our venture arm that helps invest in companies. Hexa Foundation is a non-profit organization that wants to envision how we can use blockchain for the greater good. We do blockchain academy policy. So all this package together aims to really tries to drive blockchain adoption. So back to Orbs. If you want to develop a successful, killer decentralized application today, what is really the process that you need to do? And this is basically the process everyone is doing. All the decentralized applications are doing the same thing. The first thing, obviously after strategy and white paper and token economics, they go into funding and they do an ICO over Ethereum. And if successful, they raise some funds And then the next thing they do is they develop a proof of concept over Ethereum that can support X transactions per second, maybe 300 transactions per day. They have a nice proof of concept, smart contracts that run over Ethereum. And then when they are looking to onboard users, they basically get stuck. So one of the biggest problems today is that everyone is launching over Ethereum and gets stuck. And one example is Kin by Kik. So Kik is the biggest consumer application that entered the space in 2017. They did a $100 million ICO, and they have around 20 million monthly active users. In 2017, they were the biggest company to enter. Now we have bigger companies, Telegram, Kakao, and so on. And we worked together with Kin on their ICO from day one. We started from strategy, and then we moved to token economy, to fundraising. And when we started drilling down into the technology, we were really missing a blockchain infrastructure that is pragmatic and can really solve the problems, the real life problems of a real company like Kik that wants to enter the space. So we did exactly the same thing. We raised money over Ethereum. We developed a proof of concept over Ethereum together with Kin. And the first thing we saw is that after a couple of transactions, the fees are high, the scalability is so low. And then we decided that we need to fork Ethereum. So we moved to Stellar because Stellar offers a higher scalability. So we started using Stellar, but then again, we had problems with fees. So then we decided to fork Stellar and maybe try to do it ourselves. So Kin, for the last 1 year, instead of focusing on developing the best, the greatest, mass-adopted user applications for their 20 million users, they've been working on solving infrastructure stuff and trying to connect different possible solutions in the market today. Another example that I mentioned is CryptoKitties. So I think CryptoKitties also really crystallized the problem of Ethereum, which is not scalable enough. So while CryptoKitties was going on, the entire Ethereum network got congested. Fees went up from 20 cents to a couple of $cents. Completion time, approval times went up from several seconds to several minutes. Obviously, not something that we can use in mass adoption. And the co-founders of CryptoKitties themselves said that one of the biggest reasons for not achieving higher adoption of CryptoKitties is because of the not scalability of fees. So if you are an application today, what really are your options? So the first option is you can try to develop your own blockchain. And this is what Kik have been doing for 1 year. But it's hard. It's hard to build a public blockchain to deal with consensus and security, and they've been doing it for a year the best they can. But instead of focusing on their application, they need to solve infrastructure problems. The second option you have is to just run on Ethereum, absorb gas costs that can be up to $1 like we saw these days. And if you have several users, hundreds of users a day, this could make sense, but obviously it's not scalable. The next thing you can do is to migrate into a new protocol, EOS and others. There are amazing protocols. They are bringing the next generation of blockchain technologies. But the concerns with these kind of solutions is that they are very, very new. They don't have the several years in production, such as Ethereum. They do fall and break and stop working for a couple of hours. They are not battle-proven yet. So maybe soon, maybe in a while, after the entire market will try to hack them and to work with them, they will become battle-proven, but currently they are not. And the last option you have is really to wait for Ethereum to solve kind of the native scalability and fees issues. But the problem with that is that the timeline for Ethereum native scaling is really, really far away, from 2020 for sharding and then to 2023 for other features. And this is also very understandable. Ethereum today is holding such a massive amount of projects and liquidity and money that it is very, very, very hard and risky for them to quickly adapt. So even if they want to change, it's very hard for them to do it so quickly. So in Orbs, we took a different strategy. Well, many blockchain infrastructures, they want to create everything themselves. They say we want to create the blockchain, to rule them all. Some say we are Ethereum killers. Some say we replace Ethereum. We are next generation. We thought we want to do it differently. So we looked around at the different kind of solutions that exist today, and we thought what would be kind of the quickest time to market, the quickest go to market. How can we bring mass adoption today and not in a year or two? And we actually thought that Ethereum or several other blockchains, they are very, very good for specific things. And Ethereum, for example, is amazing for liquidity, security, integration to all exchanges. It's the best platform for doing ICOs, for holding your money in the most secure way. We should use it. I mean, we don't need to invent the wheel, right? If you want to build a car, you don't need to reinvent the wheel all over again. So our strategy in Orbs is basically a layered approach, where each layer really tackles a different problem that we want in a complete full-stack solution. And this is, obviously, we didn't invent it. This is how the internal protocol works. You have 7 layers. You have the physical layer, and then the local network, and the IP, and the TCP, and the HTTP, and then the application layer. And we want to create something similar. So we think Ethereum at the moment is the best liquidity layer. We want to use it. We think all applications should do ICOs over Ethereum. We think you should hold most of the funds over Ethereum. It's great, integrated to all exchanges, onto wallets. But the fact is that it's not a good production layer today. So Orbs comes to solve this problem. We are a second layer, fully public blockchain that runs on top of Ethereum to solve all the production problems that Ethereum has. And when an application uses Orbs, it is actually using a stack of technology. And you get the best of the ICO world, and then you also get the best of the production and the utility world. So what are the benefits of Ethereum? We know, fully decentralized, 15,000 nodes, easy to do ICOs, integrated to all the networks. And what are the benefits you get if you use Orbs? All the production benefits that you need. 100,000 transactions per second. You get cross-chain smart contracts to be able to communicate with the different blockchains, as we mentioned, because our strategy is a layered approach. The fees are friendly, so we changed the fee model completely. Ethereum is gas, EOS is buying like bandwidth. We went into a more Amazon cloud or cloud infrastructure style fees models. We think that real businesses, they don't understand gas. They don't understand stake. What they do understand is paying once a month for a dedicated kind of resources that they want to buy. So in Orbs, if you are a big application, you come, you decide which level of service you want. I want to get 100 transactions per second, guaranteed. The price is X per month. You pay it in a subscription fee model. Why? Because, again, we think this is our approach for fee models for mainstream consumer applications. And there are 2 main concepts about how Orbs works in the technology side of things. The first is we use 1 token for 2 chains. And this is basically our mechanism to connect between Orbs and Ethereum. And the basic concept is that you raise your funds on Ethereum, you save most of your funds on Ethereum. But then when you want to move some of the tokens to make them liquid, to make them on the utility layer so that they can move fast and do many fast transactions per second in low fees, you just move some of the tokens from Ethereum to the second layer Orb level, and then they just move very fast. They do all the production level things that you need, and if you want to take the money back to Ethereum to hold it in a secure way, you can. So Ethereum is, you can imagine it, is like a big bank in the, I don't know, Switzerland or wherever people are holding most of the money. A huge bank, and when you want money to do day-to-day transactions, very fast transactions, you just move it to your wallet, to Orbs, and that's it. So this is the hierarchy. And the technology between this is we are using atomic swaps and cross-chain smart contracts to really connect the 2 chains. And the second very interesting thing about Orbs is how do we make Orbs so fast, but still keep it decentralized and public and secure. And for this, we also introduce 2 main features. The first one is intelligent sharding, that we also call virtual chain, and the second one is randomized proof of stake. So what is intelligent sharding? Intelligent sharding is basically the next generation of sharding technology. This is how we bring virtualization into blockchain. So virtualization is a very basic concept, in cloud computing. Everyone can open a virtual server in Amazon and everything else, and we think the same concept is needed in blockchain. So in Orbs, every application can create their own virtual blockchain over Orbs' physical network. And this is also our sharding mechanism. So sharding, I don't know how much you know. It's very technical, but it's a very famous technique to make blockchain infrastructures to move faster. And the basic idea is that instead of having like one lane where everyone goes in the same lane, you split the traffic into many, many, many lanes, right? Like in Seoul. Somehow all the roads in Seoul have 8 lanes. In Israel, we have like 1 or 2. So many lanes, traffic is very fast, no traffic jams in Seoul, which is amazing. But the problem with the way sharding is done today is that the splitting of cars, of messages between lanes is done in a random way. It's very random. So when one user wants to communicate with another user, they need to cross lanes. So imagine like a road where if everyone were going straight, fine. But if every car was now trying to move between lanes, this creates a whole mess, and it really takes away from all the good benefits of sharding. And this is because that sharding is done randomly. What we do in Orbs, we do intelligent sharding. So we do application and context-aware sharding, meaning that we open a shard for every different applications. And what this causes, it causes that, Kik, which is a social network, they go in lane 1. And maybe Zinc, which is a very successful blockchain project by Ion Source, they are ad tech, so they go in lane 2. So every applications have a different shard, and the chances that these applications need to communicate between them to cross lanes is very, very small. So everyone is driving their own lane, and there's very, very few cross-lane kind of traffic things. So this makes intelligent sharding really much, 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 much more effective. I hope it was clear. We have diagrams. And the next thing we're doing in Orbs is something we called randomized proof of stake, which is also very, very nice. So one of the best techniques to scale up blockchains today is really to reduce the number of nodes that participate in consensus, right? Because what is consensus? Consensus is getting into agreement. So everyone needs to talk to anyone else. If it's only one person like me, I can make the decisions. If it's 2 persons, me and my wife, it's take 1 day. And if it's many, 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 many nodes that needs to do consensus, it takes a long time. So many, many blockchain infrastructures, next generation blockchain infrastructures, they just reduce the number of nodes. Neo, it's 7, and Hashgraph is around 50, and the EOS is 21. And if you have small number of nodes, the consensus is very fast. The problem with that is that you are basically compromising on security and decentralization, right? Ethereum has 15,000 nodes, very, very secure. If you want to hack it, you need to hack to 2/3 and thousands of computers. If you want to break into, EOS or others, you only need to hack to 15 computers, and then you basically can break the network. So what we did in Orbs, we said, let's just do both. Let's do randomized proof of stake. This means that in Orbs, we can have as many nodes as we want. Let's say 1,000 nodes. So the security is as strong as thousands of nodes. But every time we want to do a block, we just select a randomized committee of 22 blocks in a very, very randomized way. You cannot never guess it. This randomized committee, specifically for this block, is doing the consensus very, very fast, and then they go away. It's like a jury, right? You want to make a decision, you call the jury, they make a decision, they go away, and then there's a next jury. So using this, we get the benefits of these 2 worlds. We are as secure as many nodes as we can get, thousands of nodes, and we are also very, very fast because each block requires just a very small committee. So these are 2 core technology concepts in Orbs, but we have many other innovations. So like I mentioned before, Orbs is part of a bigger group in Israel called Hexa. And we believe that eventually a project is an open source project. Everyone can come and take Orbs and fork it and do it themselves. We forked many chains in our experience. And really, if you want to build the power, the network effect, the strength of a blockchain, you need to create an ecosystem around it. And this is what we do in Hexa. And we have already partnered with some of the really most exciting and leading applications that are developing different kinds of applications all over the world. One of them is Zinc. Zinc is by IronSource. IronSource is one of the biggest ad tech companies in the world. It is the biggest ad tech company in Israel. They have around 1.5 billion app SDK downloads all over the world. And they are basically developing a blockchain project called Zinc to try to solve the ad frauds in ads. So in ad tech, every dollar that you put into ad tech, around 30% is lost to fraud and anything else. So they want to use blockchain to do it. And this is a great use case that we are doing. We're working together with Kik. So the Kik is our social network use case. Endor is a big data blockchain project that works together with MIT and other universities. DX Exchange is an exchange that was developed by NASDAQ that is opening very soon. So like all exchanges, the exchanges are centralized, but they also understand that they want to move a lot of the parts to be decentralized so that users not necessarily need to hold all their money in the exchange and people will want to kind of steal it and break into the exchange. So they are also looking into decentralization, many parts of their exchange, and they will do it over Orbs. Atomic is also a next-generation decentralized exchange. One of the biggest problems with decentralized exchanges today is they don't have the underlying kind of infrastructures that can do it in scale. So we are working together with Zinc, again, in this layered approach. They don't need to solve all the entire infrastructure problems of the world in order to build a decentralized exchange. Instead, they can build together with Orbs. We give them the low fees, the scalability, and then they can add a layer that provide the service that they want. PumaPay is also a very big ICO. They raised $117 million. They are working with the biggest e-commerce and SaaS platforms of the world. They are building a payment solution like PayPal over blockchain, also using Orbs. Orbs is now in a testnet stage with 3 of these customers already using Orbs, Zinc, Kik, and PumaPay. Orbs is launching in October. This year, we will launch our mainnet. We are only doing private sale in Orbs. So far, we raised around $120 million for Orbs, and we left some allocation for strategic partners. We are very, very focused on Asia and Korea. We think that the blockchain leadership, the mass adoption of users will come from Korea, of one of the neighbors. There's so much liquidity and so much money flowing into the markets here. All the biggest and best corporations in Korea are entering the space, Kakao, for example, and many others. And also, there is a very, very dynamic atmosphere here. So many people are interested in blockchain. So we really think that Korea can become the market leader, the blockchain nation of the world, obviously in competition with your neighbors, Japan, China. So you also need to, to hit the iron while it's hot and make it. But we think definitely the potential is here. So we are very, very interested in the Korean market. We are also opening a local market here. And we want to bring what we can do best, which is very deep level technology that can really help the biggest companies here in Korea to scale and to bring blockchain to the mass market, which is what we started in the beginning in the second slide. So this is Orbs. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you very much.
Anybody's got? You want to take some? You want to take a question?
Yeah, questions.
Anybody's got any questions for Uriel before I let him off the stage? Any questions?
Any questions? Yes.
Yep. Excuse me, can you just approach the mic so everybody knows what you're asking? And it'd be good as well for questions as well to identify yourself so we know the context.
Is your sharding different from what Vitalik proposed, the sharding used by Ethereum?
Yeah, so the answer is yes. I think one of the maybe advantages that we have in Orbs is that we came later into the game. We co-founded Orbs at around September 2017 after we worked a lot on Kik. We didn't start from Orbs, by the way. We started from advising, from our Hexa Labs business. We were doing advisory for mainstream consumer application that transition into the space, and while we were doing advising, we saw that something was missing. So we started Orbs around September 2017. And one of the advantages of coming a bit later into the game is that you have the opportunity to really look around at all the landscape of solutions, you know, what everyone is doing, what they're doing bad, what they're doing good, and basically take the best of everything and then add your own kind of secret sauce and innovation and new technology and really design something that is maybe more mature. And I think sharding is a good example of that. We don't do sharding. We do something else. We do virtual chains. So virtual chains is actually sharding in the product level, not in the technology level. So sharding is a technological solution to solve scalability. Virtual chain is really a business and product level solution to really enable applications to have their own dedicated virtual chain over Ethereum, very, very much similar to virtual machines over Amazon, right? You can use shared resources over Amazon, and then you can also use your dedicated virtual servers, which are only yours. So I think that the difference between what we are doing and maybe other solutions, and maybe even specifically what Ethereum is doing, is that we had the opportunity to build everything from the beginning. All of Orbs we coded from the beginning. We didn't fork. We didn't use anything else. And through doing this, we could really, we could solve problems, not bottom up, but really from top down. And sharding is a good example of that.
All right. Any more? If not, well, thank you again, Uriel.
Okay.